Today we are learning about converting fractions, decimals, and percents. The first one we're going to look at is a fraction to a decimal. So we are going to divide the numerator by the denominator. So remember, the numerator is the number on top, and the denominator is the number on the bottom. So when we divide, we're going to take our numerator and divide it by our denominator. So 1 divided by 4. And do this by hand. And 4 does not go into 1, so we have to add on a 0 with our decimal and go straight up. So 4 goes into 10 2 times. We multiply 2 times 4, and that is 8. And then we subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. We add a 0. We bring down the 0. Then we do 4 goes into 20. 4 goes into 20 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. Subtract, and we get 0. So 1/4 as a decimal is 0.25. Now let's look at 3/7. We're going to do 3 and divide it by 7. Seven goes into 3, which we can't do, so we have to add a decimal and a 0. So 7 goes into 30 4 times. 4 times 7 is 28. Subtract, and we get 2. We add a 0, we bring it down. 7 goes into 20 2 times. 2 times 7 is 14. Subtract, and we get 6. Add another 0. And bring that 0 down. So, bring it down. Okay, so 7 goes into 60 8 times. 8 times 7 is 56. We subtract, we get 4. And we can continue on and on and on, but this number will keep going on. So after 3 decimal places, then you can just round. So 3/7 as a decimal is approximately 0.428. Now let's look at decimals to fractions. So we're going to write it just as you would say it, and then round. And then we're going to simplify. So 0.7, we would say that as 7/10. So we need to write 7/10, which is 7/10. 7/10, 7/10. Now, can we simplify this anymore? We cannot. So our fraction of our decimal of 0.7 is 7/10. Our next one, we have 4.28. We would say that 4 and 28/100. So let's write that. 4 be the whole number, and then we have 28/100. So 28/100. Now we need to simplify. We do not need to touch our whole number, just the fraction. So 28/100, what number can we simplify out of these? We can divide 4 out of the top and the bottom evenly. So we get 4. 28 divided by 4 is 7. And then 100 divided by 4 is 25. So we get 4 and 7 over 25. Next, we're going to take a decimal to a percent. So we're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right and add a percent sign. Or another way to think about it is just multiplying the decimal by 100. And then don't forget your percent sign. So 2.36, if we move the decimal to the right 2 places, we get 236, the decimal on the right of the 6. And then we just need our percent sign. So it's 236%. The next one we have 0.03. We move the decimal 2 places to the right. Our decimal point moves. And then we write 3 decimals to the right of it. Nothing else is over there except our percent sign. So 0.03 changed to a percent is 3%. Let's look at the rest. We're going to look at a percent to a decimal. So we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the left. And then we're just going to remove the percent sign. It's gone. Or another way to think of it is just divide the percent by 100 and then remove the percent sign. So 32%, we start to the right of the number since there's no decimal and move 2 places to the left. We get 0.32. And then we have 100%. The decimal is all the way to the right. Move it 2 places. 1, 2. We get 1 as our answer. Okay, now let's look at percent to fractions. So there's 2 steps to this. We have to convert the percent to a decimal. And after converting it to a decimal, we have to make it into a fraction. So it's applying 2 of the ones that we previously did. So percent to a decimal, then decimal to a fraction. So to make it a decimal, we have to move the decimal over to the left 2 spots. So it turns into 0.32. Then we need to change this into a fraction. So 0.32, that is 32 hundredths. So 32 over 100. But now we have to simplify. So what number divides nicely into both the numerator and the denominator? And that is 4. We can divide both by 4. 32 divided by 4 is 8, and 100 divided by 4 is 25. So 8/25 is our answer. The last one we're going to look at is a fraction to a percent. So we have to convert the fraction to a decimal, and then convert the decimal to a percent. So 3/8. We're going to take 3 and divide it by 8. So 8 goes into 3, and it doesn't. So we need to add the 0 with the decimal. Bring the decimal up. So 8 goes into 30 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. Subtract, and we get 6. Add a 0 and bring it down. 8 goes into 60 7 times. 7 times 8 gives us 56. Subtract, and we get 4. Add a 0 and bring it down. 8 goes into 40 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. Subtract, we get 0. So 3/8 as a decimal is 0.375. But now we need to convert this to a percent. So we move the decimal 2 places to the right. And we get 37.5%. So that is how you convert fractions, decimals, and percents. Please reach out if you have any questions.